It's the Daily Doug. Welcome, my friends. It is the October 31st edition of the Daily Dog. We have found ourselves on Halloween, All Hallows Eve. All right, y'all. I think it's time for some fun today. Although I am not dressed for Halloween. I'm recording this ahead of time so that I can have some fun on Halloween and let my hair down a bit or up a bit. I don't know what we're going to do on Thursday, but either way, it's going to be fun. So, as I am releasing this, yes, it is All Hallows Eve. It is Halloween. And this year, we are celebrating this holiday with some music by King Diamond. Now, every year when Halloween comes around, we have a bit of fun with some of the sounds of the season. So, like last year, we heard Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. We also listened to Scare Tale by Nightwish around that time. That was fun. Back in 2022, I released my full album reaction to Operation Mindcrime by Marillion, and we also heard Halloween by the metal band Helloween. And that was interesting. The first Halloween that the Daily Doug was even a thing was in 2021, and back then we heard Hocus Pocus by Focus, and y'all, that is an epic an epic episode. If you haven't seen it already, it's a fun one. And I think we also took a look at Ghost of Perdition from Opeth that week. So every time of year that we come around to the end of October, the 1st of November, and we get this inspiration to hear music like this, it really has sparked some really fun and lasting, memorable episodes. And I think that that's going to be the case here. So there have been calls for me to review music from King Diamond before. I've just never found the right time to get started with them. They are a heavy metal band from Denmark, and they formed in 1985. This song, Halloween, was recorded and released as part of their debut album called Fatal Portrait, which was released in March of 1986. That album's title is drawn from the Oscar Wilde novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, as the painting is described as the fatal portrait throughout that story. So let's get into it, y'all. I am not exactly sure what I'm going to be in for today. These guys are notorious for me. I've looked into them a little bit. We've got Kim Bendix Peterson, more commonly known by his stage name King Diamond, on the vocals. Andy LaRoche and Michael Denner are on guitars. Timmy Hansen is on the bass, and Mikey D is on the drums. Like I said, y'all, I've looked into this band in the past, and although I've been intrigued, I haven't been bowled over to the point where I really wanted to listen to their music and prioritize their stuff over something else. So as a result of that, I've seen a little bit and heard a little bit, just snippets of what the band looks like and sounds like. So I know the stuff with the makeup and the theatrical staging that they do. And I also know that King Diamond sings in a very high vocal register, y'all. So I'm ready for that type of music to be coming our way. I also had the option of viewing a live version of this song, and while I think it might be fun to see the theatrical stuff going on, I really am interested in hearing what the band sounds like, especially as a first time listen for me like this on their album, where they had control over which solo they took and which take was the best and which vocal was the best, and had time to put it together. A live reaction or a live performance reaction is a lot of fun, but especially for a band like this, I'm really going to be interested. Does this band have the goods, or is it kind of smoke and mirrors? I'm going to be looking for that. And so that's why I am going with just the audio today of the studio version of this song. So let's see what they are talking about. It is Halloween, and it is by King Diamond. Off we go. Okay. First thing I think of is like 80s hair bands. So they're in E minor. That's high. That's a B in the treble staff. Wow. Yeah, so that's where he's hanging out. It's a little bright for my taste, the timbre. Different key. Back to where they came from. It's got a good groove to it. Shit, y'all. That's impressive. The timbre isn't though quite my cup of tea though. I wish you didn't do it all the time. Guitar solo. Call it more of a hard rock guitar solo than a metal solo. So this is a different section. And they're in B, and that's A sharp. So now they're in C sharp. Yeah. Go there. Wow. The vocal stays in that range. The whole song, it wears on my ears. Wow. I command you to scream. And scream they do. They've been in some different keys though. That's Bridget 2. Wow, high F sharp vocally. Whoa. It's a cool effect on his voice. Well, you know, in a lot of ways, it's better than I was expecting, to be quite honest with you. I think the band has a very good groove. I think it's solid. The guitar playing is solid, which allows for the personality of the person out front to really come through. And that's where I think this band gets its notoriety. You either like that theatricality and that style of vocal with your rock, or you don't. Um, if some of the vocal would have been down an octave, and he given us a little bit of just regular singing, and then when you go up into that higher range, it makes it more impactful. If you do it all the time, we're going to become accustomed to it, and when you really want something to break through, you're already maxed out in a high register. I know that he's flipped and he's in his falsetto, and it's probably relatively an easy thing for him to do, to sing like that. It is for a lot of male vocalists that I've known over the years, that flip into falsetto. Sorry, y'all, for me doing that. Sorry, Doug. But it's not that hard it doesn't take as much air as our regular range, and you can have, and it always has a little bit of hootiness and space to it because of the way that you have to produce that sound. And it comes off really effective, but overdone in my estimation. That's my immediate reaction to it. Interestingly, there were a few theatrical performances that King Diamond experienced that were quite influential to him as he was younger. He saw Peter Gabriel on his last tour with Genesis, and he said that it was a very visual show with Peter Gabriel and his different costumes and his makeup and all of that. He also saw Alice Cooper in his Welcome to My Nightmare tour, and he says, I was right at the front, and I felt that if I could have reached up and touched Alice's boot, that he might even disappear into thin air. It was so unreal. So I think those performances, I read from this article that was written about him, that he decided that being on stage was like, or became something that he became eager to do. And he started off, I think, as a guitarist in his first band, but then he discovered that he could kind of sing or scream like Rob Halford or Ian Gillan. And he said, I had no idea what falsetto was. All I knew was that this sound was coming out of me, and it was fantastic. And he develops his stage name and goes on to create, I think, some very influential music. I can see a lot of other metal bands having some influence from the stuff that he was doing with King Diamond and with the band I think that he had before this. And it was a license just to be open, be yourself, be a little bit nuts maybe, let loose a little bit. And, when we're like that, we're vulnerable a bit, but I think that's when we can learn and be really open to what our senses can tell us as to what's going on around us. And so it's maybe a good thing to have a Halloween occasionally where we let our hair down a bit and we have some memorable experiences. So happy Halloween, everybody. Play safe. I'm a diabetic now, so I might have a little bit of candy, but I'm going to behave myself. And we're looking forward to having some trick-or-treaters and enjoying the holiday. So I thank y'all for being with me. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.